My dear sister, let me begin by asking you something that may shake your heart. Have you ever wondered why, despite everything you've gone through, you're still standing, not just breathing, not just surviving, but still carrying a fire inside you that refuses to die? There's a reason. And to show you that reason, let me take you back to a story of a woman who carried storms in her chest, but destiny in her bones. She didn't know she was chosen. She didn't know she was protected. She didn't know she was set apart. All she knew was that life kept breaking, yet somehow, she never fully shattered. And maybe, that woman is you. There are moments in life when God doesn't announce His protection. He simply covers you. Moments when He doesn't explain. He simply strengthens you. Moments when He doesn't move the storm. He simply anchors you so deeply that the waves cannot pull you away. A woman under God's protective hand does not always feel strong, but she is unbreakable. She does not always feel chosen, but she is set apart. She does not always feel victorious, but she is never defeated. And today, I want to walk with you, slowly, deeply, honestly, through 7 powerful truths, 7 signs, 7 divine fingerprints that prove you are not ordinary. You are not random. You are not abandoned. You are a woman set apart by God's hand of protection. Not because of what you've done, but because of who He is. And I want you to feel every word, as if heaven itself is speaking directly to your soul. Let us begin. When God protects you, He removes people you thought you needed. There is a moment in every chosen woman's life when she begins to feel the quiet, painful, and confusing shift of people leaving her world. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, subtly, and often unexpectedly. Someone who once felt essential suddenly grows distant. A friend who used to understand the deepest parts of you begins to misunderstand everything you say. A relationship you once believed was permanent starts falling apart without warning. And in the beginning, you feel the sting of it. You feel abandoned, rejected, replaced, or forgotten. You ask God, why would you allow this? Why would you take away the people I trusted? But the truth is, He didn't allow it to hurt you. He orchestrated it to protect you. When the hand of God rests upon a woman, He becomes intentional about the connections around her. You may think people leave you because of circumstances, misunderstandings, or differences, but heaven knows the real reason. Not everyone can walk into the next chapter you are destined for. Some people were only meant to love you at one level, not follow you to the next. Some voices were meant to comfort your past, not speak into your future. And some relationships, no matter how beautiful they once were, would have eventually crushed your spirit if they had stayed. God sees what you cannot see. He hears conversations behind your back that never reach your ears. He knows hearts in ways their words could never reveal. And because He loves you deeply, He will protect you, sometimes by removing those who were secretly rooting against you, limiting you, distracting you, or holding you back. It doesn't always mean they were bad people. It simply means they were not aligned with who you are becoming. There is a holy loneliness that appears before elevation. That emptiness you feel is not abandonment. It is clearing. It is God making space. It is heaven rearranging the room of your life so that the right people, the right guidance, the right relationships, and the right opportunities can find you without the noise of the wrong ones blocking the door. But because our hearts are human, we grieve the loss. We replay memories, question ourselves, and wonder if we could have done something differently. Yet God whispers, "Daughter, if you knew what I was protecting you from, you would thank me instead of questioning me." Every time someone walked away, a divine shield was raised in front of you. Every time rejection came, protection followed behind it. Every time a relationship ended, revelation was waiting in the next season. Think back on your life. Really think. The people who left, the ones who quietly faded, the ones who suddenly shifted. Did things not become clearer afterwards? Did your spirit not grow lighter? Did your peace not return? Did your strength not increase? Because when God takes someone out of your life, He heals you in the same breath. A woman set apart by God is not meant to be surrounded by crowds. She is meant to be surrounded by purpose. She is not meant to be connected to everyone. She is meant to be connected to destiny, and destiny requires pruning, painful pruning, necessary pruning, the kind of pruning that doesn't make sense until the fruit comes. But here is the beautiful truth. For every person God removes, He sends someone better, someone wiser, someone safer, someone who sees you the way God sees you, someone who adds peace instead of stealing it, someone who prays for you instead of preying on you, someone whose presence feels like alignment instead of anxiety. These are the people who belong to your future, not your past. When God protects a woman, He does not ask permission. He does not wait for her to understand. He moves, He separates, He lifts, and only later, sometimes years later, does she look back and say, "No, I see why that had to end." You will have that moment too. You will look back at the places you cried, and realize heaven was building you. You will remember the hands that let go and finally understand they were never strong enough to carry the weight of who you are becoming. You are not losing people. You are losing limitations. You are not being abandoned. You are being advanced. You are not being rejected. You are being redirected. If God removed them, it is because they could not stay. And if they could not stay, it is because you are being set apart. This is the first sign of a woman God protects. He removes what cannot carry her into her destiny. Even when she doesn't yet know where He's taking her, your spirit is too sensitive to darkness because you carry light. There is something deeply unique about a woman who is protected, guided, and marked by God's hand. Her spirit becomes unusually sensitive. Not sensitive in the emotional sense, but spiritually sensitive, awake, alert, and aware in ways that others cannot understand. This sensitivity is not a burden. It is a divine indicator that you carry light, and where there is light, darkness cannot remain unnoticed. You may have spent years trying to explain why certain environments feel heavy to you, why certain people drain your energy, or why your peace disappears the moment you enter a room with the wrong atmosphere. You may have wondered why a conversation that seemed harmless to others felt spiritually unsettling to you, or why someone's smile looked warm on the surface, but felt cold in your spirit. This is not imagination. This is discernment. This is spiritual protection in motion. A woman under God's covering does not walk blindly. She sees with her soul. Her heart senses danger before her mind has words for it. Her spirit feels a shift long before her eyes notice anything wrong. You may call it intuition, but heaven calls it discernment, and this discernment is a signature sign of a chosen woman. It is how God warns you, shields you, guides you, and guards you. It is the internal alarm system heaven planted inside you, so that no enemy could ever take you by surprise. No deception could quietly infiltrate your peace, and no darkness could sit comfortably near your light. Think about the moments in your life when something within you said, "Don't trust this." You didn't have proof. You didn't have facts. You didn't have explanations. Yet something felt off. Something felt wrong. Something inside you tightened and whispered, "Be careful." And later, you discovered that your spirit was right all along. That is not coincidence. That is protection. A woman set apart by God has a spirit that is tuned to higher frequencies. She picks up on danger before it manifests, hidden intentions before they are revealed, and spiritual shifts before anyone else perceives them. Others may call you too sensitive, too dramatic, or too emotional, but they do not understand that your sensitivity is spiritual armor. It is the very thing that has kept you from forming the wrong bonds, entering the wrong rooms, or trusting the wrong hearts. You may have noticed that you no longer tolerate certain behaviors, conversations, or atmospheres that you once ignored or brushed aside. You may wonder why gossip feels unbearable now, why drama exhausts you instantly, why negativity suffocates your peace, and why your body almost rebels against environments filled with conflict or spiritual pollution. This is growth. This is transformation. This is the evolution of a woman who carries God's light. The brighter the light inside you becomes, the stronger your rejection of darkness grows. Your soul simply refuses to coexist with what God has delivered you from. There may be moments when you feel out of place, because your spirit reacts to things other people are blind to. You may walk into a gathering and sense heaviness, even though everyone else is laughing. You may sit beside someone and suddenly feel anxious without knowing why. You may decline opportunities that look perfect on the surface, but feel wrong within your spirit. And later, you will see why God nudged you to step away. A protected woman is not led by what looks good, but by what aligns with her spirit. She listens to the whisper within, not the noise around her. There is also a tenderness inside you, a compassion, an empathy, a depth of feeling that is uncommon. This is not weakness. This is how God keeps your heart soft enough to love and strong enough to discern. You feel deeply because you hear heaven clearly. You sense deeply because you are spiritually alive. You pick up on shifts because your soul is connected to God's movements. And yes, it may overwhelm you at times. It may make you feel isolated. It may make you feel misunderstood. But this sensitivity is proof that God has placed something precious within you, light. Light that exposes lies. Light that reveals hidden motives. Light that protects you from spiritual attacks long before they reach you. A woman who carries light cannot hide in darkness, and darkness cannot hide from her. This is why some people are uncomfortable around you. They cannot mask who they are when your spirit steps into the room. You do not even have to speak. Your presence alone confronts their shadows. And so, without knowing why, they avoid you, resist you, or feel threatened by you. Not because you are wrong, but because your light reveals what they try to hide. Your spiritual sensitivity is not something to suppress or apologize for. It is the divine evidence that you are set apart, guarded, guided, and held in the palm of God's hand. It is the reason you survived traps others fell into, escaped relationships that would have broken you, avoided environments that would have drained you, and recognized dangers that were never visible to the eye. This sensitivity is your shield. This discernment is your compass. This awareness is your inheritance. Because you carry light, heaven refuses to let darkness catch you unaware. This is the second sign of a woman protected by God. Her spirit is awakened, alert, and sensitive, because she carries divine light within her. Your battles are fierce, because your calling is great. There is a truth many women overlook when they are in the middle of life's hardships. The intensity of your battles is not a reflection of your weakness, but a revelation of your calling. The harder the fight, the heavier the purpose, the deeper the wounds, the higher the destiny. A woman protected and chosen by God often walks through battles that seem unfair, overwhelming, and unexplainable. She faces storms others never experience, attacks that come out of nowhere, and trials that seem designed specifically for her breaking. And while others may crumble under pressure, she somehow rises again and again, sometimes trembling, sometimes crying, sometimes crawling, but always rising. This is not because she is superhuman. It is because she is chosen. A great calling always attracts great warfare. When God has marked a woman, the enemy recognizes it long before she does. The enemy sees the power inside her, the influence she will carry, the freedom she will release, the generations she will impact, and the legacy she will one day create. So he fights her early. He fights her hard. He fights her in areas that hit the deepest parts of her identity. Her worth, her faith, her relationships, her peace, and her mind. Not because she is fragile, but because she is powerful. Not because she is lost, but because she is destined. Not because she is weak, but because she is dangerous to darkness. Look back on your life for a moment. Truly look. Ask yourself why the battle started so young, why the heartbreaks felt so deep, why the betrayals cut so sharply, why the losses came so unexpectedly, why the disappointments felt so personal. It is because the enemy knew if you ever discovered who you truly are, nothing could stop you. And so, before you knew your strength, the battle tried to convince you you had none. Before you knew your purpose, the storm tried to bury it. Before you understood your identity, the enemy tried to distort it. But here is the beautiful irony. The more you were attacked, the more God strengthened you. The more you were pushed down, the more heaven lifted you. The more the enemy fought you, the more God fortified you. Every tear you shed watered the soil of your resilience. Every wound birthed wisdom. Every setback carved strength. Every loss expanded your capacity. What the enemy used to destroy you, God used to build you. And this is why you are still standing. Many people look at a chosen woman and see her confidence, her wisdom, her compassion, her resilience. But they do not see the battles that shaped her. They do not see the nights she cried alone. They do not see the moments she felt forgotten. They do not see the days she begged God for strength. They do not see the times she almost broke, almost quit, almost gave up. They see her strength, but they do not know the story behind it. Yet God knows. And heaven honors every battle. When you are chosen, your life is not allowed to be ordinary. Your challenges are not random. Your storms are not accidental. Everything you go through is preparing you for something greater. You learn to fight not because life forces you, but because your purpose requires it. You learn to pray not because you are desperate, but because your destiny demands intimacy with God. You learn endurance not because you want to struggle, but because your calling requires stamina. You become spiritually sharp, emotionally grounded, and mentally unshakable, because God is raising you for a throne that requires maturity, not fragility. And even when the battle feels too heavy, when the weight feels crushing, when the pressure feels unbearable, God whispers to your spirit, "You are built for this." Not because the battle is easy, but because His strength is within you. A chosen woman is never left to fight alone. She may feel alone, but she is never abandoned. She may feel overwhelmed, but she is never unsupported. She may feel weak, but she is never unprotected. Heaven surrounds her, shields her, and stands with her. There is a reason you survived what others didn't. There is a reason you rose from things that should have broken you. There is a reason you healed from wounds that seemed impossible to overcome. There is a reason you kept going when others would have stopped. Your survival is not luck. It is evidence. Evidence that God's hand has been on your life from the beginning. Evidence that your purpose is greater than your pain. Evidence that your calling is higher than your circumstances. Evidence that the battles you face are preparing you for the impact you will one day have. So do not despise your battles. Do not underestimate their meaning. They are shaping you into the woman God destined you to become. They are sharpening you, strengthening you, refining you, and building you. And though the warfare has been fierce, it is only because your calling is great. This is the third sign of a woman protected by God. Her battles are not small because her destiny is not small. Your isolation is sacred because God is transforming you in silence. There comes a season in every chosen woman's journey when God pulls her away from the noise of the world, not to punish her, but to prepare her. It is a season that feels strange, heavy, lonely, and unexplainable. A season where the phone stops ringing, the invitations stop coming, the friendships shift, and the world around her suddenly grows quiet. At first, she may think something is wrong with her. She may wonder why she no longer feels connected to the people she once relied on. She may question why her heart feels distant from places that used to feel familiar. But what she does not realize, at least not immediately, is that this silence is divine. This isolation is holy. This distance is intentional, because God is doing His deepest work in her when no one else is watching. God often hides his chosen ones when he is transforming them. The same way he hid Moses in the wilderness, David in the fields, Joseph in the prison, and Esther in the palace. He hides a woman when he is preparing her for a calling that requires strength, strategy, clarity, and a purified heart. Growth rarely happens in the spotlight. Transformation rarely happens in crowds. Healing rarely happens in chaos. So God removes the noise, slows down the pace, and brings her into a sacred solitude where he can speak to her without interruption. And though this season may feel like abandonment, it is actually the exact opposite. It is evidence of divine protection. In isolation, God begins to reveal things she could not see when she was surrounded by others. He uncovers wounds she ignored, traumas she buried, habits she normalized, and mindsets she carried unknowingly. He gently brings them to the surface, not to hurt her, but to heal her. He shows her who she has been, who she is now, and who she is becoming. He begins to peel away layers that life placed on her, layers of fear, insecurity, comparison, resentment, and doubt. And he replaces them with strength, clarity, identity, peace, and purpose. This sacred silence becomes a spiritual operating room, where God removes what was harming her and restores what will elevate her. There is something powerful about being alone with God. When the distractions fade, his voice becomes louder. When the noise quiets, her purpose becomes clearer. When the world feels distant, heaven feels closer. In this isolation, she begins to hear things she never heard before, whispers of direction, visions of destiny, revelations about her future, and truth about her worth. She begins to realize that the isolation she feared was actually the protection she needed. And slowly, she starts becoming someone stronger, wiser, more intentional, more grounded, and more aligned with who God always designed her to be. During this time, she may outgrow relationships she once fought to keep. She may lose interest in conversations that once entertained her. She may distance herself from environments that no longer feel aligned. She may crave peace more than attention, depth more than noise, purpose more than validation. This is not her becoming cold or distant. This is her evolving. When God transforms a woman in silence, he elevates her spirit above the level of her old life. What once satisfied her is no longer enough. What once distracted her no longer appeals to her. She begins to recognize her worth at a level she never understood before. She starts protecting her peace like the treasure it is. She becomes selective with her time, intentional with her energy, and careful with her heart. And sometimes, this transformation can feel painful, because growth often means letting go of what once felt comfortable. Healing often means revisiting wounds you tried to forget. Transformation often means surrendering what you thought you needed. But even in the discomfort, God is present. Even in the silence, God is speaking. Even in the loneliness, God is working. A chosen woman does not walk through isolation because she is forgotten. She walks through isolation because she is being shaped for something greater than her current season. There will come a day when she looks back at this quiet season and realizes it was the most important chapter of her life. She will see that the silence was where she found her voice. The isolation was where she discovered her identity. The stillness was where she recognized her calling. And the loneliness was where she met God in ways she never had before. What felt like separation was actually preparation. What felt like emptiness was actually elevation. What felt like loss was actually alignment. This is the fourth sign of a woman protected by God when he isolates her. It is because he is transforming her in silence for the purpose that awaits her.